Alrighty, ladies and gents, welcome. Apologies about a slight delay. Just had the Ghana right beside the window, so making a hell of a lot of noise. So I thought I'd best wait for it to finish. But guys, we are here. So without further ado, it's that time again. Welcome, ladies and gents, one and all. Hope you're all doing well. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening, no matter where we are around the world, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another edition of the London session. Looking forward to seeing what we can come up with moving forward here today. New week, obviously a new month as well. So got the tariff, most of the tariff decisions out of the way. Let's see. Hopefully the charts will be a little bit less unpredictable as they were during the month of July. During London session was, for the most part, it was terrible. It was just consolidating. Still managed to have a really good month, another very positive month. So looking to continue on in the same fashion. We're on a decent, little bit of a win streak at the moment. Just had a look back at the most recent trades taken, so we're doing pretty well, and let's keep it up, guys. So without further ado, you guys know the drill. If you could, YouTube, smash that like button. TikTok, hit that screen for me. Let's get the masses onto the stream. And what we will do to begin is we'll have a look at the news moving forward here today. Scheduled news, so nothing of high impact for our session other than some Swiss news, which could affect the euro. So anyone trading the euro, just be wary of that. That is to come shortly in just over half an hour from now. Moving forward into my session, nothing major. So let's quickly have a look for the rest of the week. We got ISM services PMI tomorrow, a couple hours into my session. NZD high impact news doesn't really count. Pound high impact news with the monetary policy statement, a big one to come on Thursday, pre-MY that is, and unemployment claims also for the USD. So Thursday appears to be the main day when it comes to news this week to be on the lookout for. But as always, anything could happen while Trump's in office. Could tweet any moment now and shake things up. So guys, let's get cracking and let's have a look at the weekly time frame to begin. Let's have a look at the gold. Do have a few indicators up here. This one just shows me how the current daily candle is printing. This one shows me the Asian session range, so the Asian session high, the Asian session low. Just a good thing to have in there so we know where we are in regards to those sort of levels. But let's start and let's have a look at the weekly time frame to begin, guys. And we are forming at the minute a bearish candle, previous weekly candle. Now I did mention in a market update video for my members group that off the back of the previous count, well, the candle prior to that did exactly what I would have expected this count to do, and that is tap into this support. Did so early into the week, only towards the end of the week did it flip back, bouncing off this support and closing pretty much in the exact same fashion as the previous candle, just in the opposite direction. So off the back of that, I feel there's a high probability that this candle could, the current candle, if it begins to break its own high, make a move up towards the resistance back at that 34.30. That daily resistance could be a target yet again. So we're going to mark in the current daily candles high, and we'll make our way to the daily time frame now itself. And what we can see is off that particular time frame, very strong bullish candle on the previous candle. We closed well above resistance here. Do have some clean traffic once again up to that 34.32 resistance higher up, around that all-time high resistance, just below the all-time high. What I did mention in my members group as well is a potential pullback zone. That little interruption, that little pause candle at support, not a little candle, it's a strong bearish candle, but a potential level that price could maybe pull back to in order to grab liquidity to make the move back bullish. So that is a level I have marked in. We've not yet come back down to that point there, but still there could be a potential for it to do so. So I'll be looking out for support to form at that point there to look for some potential buys. And if we've begun to pop below it, we're going to start to push back towards the 50% and below perhaps the previous daily candle. The sellers did step into at that point there in the minor time frames and continue to respect that level as well, and we end up pulling below the 50% after forming resistance in our fields. A high probability we could even end up back at the support. Onto the 4 hour time frame here, we are bullish. We're bullish across the board. 4 hour has flipped back bullish upon Friday's news event. So what we're going to do is just mark in that level of resistance, and we're going to mark, yep, that so obviously lines up the high of that candle I did mention before. Apologies guys if you can hear the lawnmower in the background. I thought it finished already. Oh man, one sec guys, I'll mute up for 1 sec. All right, literally got the blower right outside the window. That's, yeah, sorry guys, it's just I can't even think. All right, so back here to the 4-hour time frame. So if we begin to break the resistance formed at the daily high, what sort of margin have we got to the left hand side here? Let's just measure that. There's still some 40 pips, so it doesn't look like much, but there could be potential options by the looks of things if we were to begin to break the high of the current daily candle. So let's just mark that in. We'll also be popping above the Asian session range high at that point as well. If we did pull back into it only to reject, then it could be potential buys above the high. So again, a potential pullback zone is this 33-34 region. Now we can make our way down to the M15 time frame, and what we can see is here as well, we are still technically bullish in structure in the M15. So what I'm going to be looking out for is, first of all, potential for price to pull back towards this support here on the M15, which lines up with the Asian session lows. So first potential option, if price was to pull back below that point there, what we often see is price will sweep the low of the day, the Asian session lows. If it begins to pop back above it and form support, then in line with the structure, in line with my bias, which is bullish, I would look for potential buys to take it back up and potentially flip the daily candle back bullish. So buys above the support. Now, as far as sells, like, I don't really have a catalyst at the minute. I mean, technically we're still bullish on the M15 as long as we really remain above this 33.40. So it's whether we bounce off the support at the Asian session lows or actually in fact pull back just a little bit lower down and respect the structure, the last significant high low level here, that's this 33.40-50 region. If we were to do so at that point there, then once again I will look for a potential buy option to take it back up towards the daily high. Just let me adjust that. And now is, would I consider a sell option? To be honest, it's against my rules for a Monday. As much as I can see potential options on a Monday, I trade in line with the strength of either the previous weekly candle, if it's a strong candle in one particular direction, or the actual bias itself. If it's a 4v0 bias, to me that's just an overwhelming bias in one particular direction. So I patiently rather wait to trade in that same direction. Now the weekly is a weak bullish candle, so I don't really consider that much of a confirmation, but the fact that the bias is 4v0 kind of sways me to only consider looking for potential buy options moving forward. So look, we may have options a little bit higher up for a buy. For instance, if we tap back into support formed within the daily candle, then it's just a matter of which level. So I'll leave these levels marked in, but I will consider buys from, let's just say, above this particular support here. If price was to pull back to it, 33.53.50, then I would also consider some potential buys to take it back up. So it's just a matter of where we pull back to in order to look for the potential buy confirmation. As far as sells, I mean, I see a very nice IC candle play here. If price was to pull back and tap into 33.58.85, stop loss above the high, sell limit at the bullish candle low, and your target will be a 1-to-1 or at least this support. If this candle was to engulf just now, then there could be continuation sells. There's still a lot of time left within this candle, so I'll keep a bit of an eye on it. I'll let you guys know what I think of it, and if I am considering a counter trend entry. Even if I'm not going to take the counter trend entry, I'll let you guys know what I think of it, if it's a good entry or not. But again, I have rules, and it's very important for me to stick to those rules, because no point in having them if you're not going to stick to them. You break it once and get away with it, you think you can break it all the time. So that's my opinion of the gold, guys. Make of that what you will, but either way, please, YouTube, don't forget, I need you guys to help me out, So quickly just smash that like button. It'll take 2 seconds out of your time. TikTok, if you could, don't forget to smash that screen for me. And I will get to you guys shortly. I just want to go through the rest of the charts just quickly, or the other pairs that I will look at, and then I'll say g'day and have a look at any questions or any charts you guys would like me to do so. All right, GJ, on to the weekly time frame here, and we are, well, based off the previous candle, very strong bearish at a level of significance though. This is a key level. High time frame support was previous resistance, turn support. So it's definitely a level that price could potentially bounce and reverse from. But it will be, you need a bit more confirmation than just an Asian session bullish candle printing. So let's see what else we got. The daily, obviously we're back above some support here to the left. Once again, very strong bearish in that previous daily candle. We're marking at 50% of it, but we're far off it, so let's not worry so much about it for the time being. The 4 hour is bearish in structure, so GJ likely to be the complete opposite to gold here. Looks like it may be bearish across the board. Let's just mark in that as support. Looks pretty clean below. We're marking the next level of support lower down here in the 4 hour, and we'll make our way down to the 30-minute time frame. Is my preferred time frame on the currency pairs here. All right, back to the 4 hour quickly. Yep, it's the lowest point of any bullish candle. All right, so the M30 is also technically bearish. Don't have any confirmation or any catalyst at this rate to buy it, to be honest, guys, because what I mentioned in my members group in the update that I recorded yesterday was that if we had actually popped back down and confirmed a lower low by closing below this support, we've tapped into it, but we've not closed below it, then for the buyers, we would have had a confirmation sooner, because the swing point would have shifted down from up, it's not even in the picture at the minute, to this swing point here. So at the minute, we don't have that catalyst to look for the potential buy. Once again, at this rate, not until we close above this 198.20 really are we going to flip the structure. So with the buyers completely bearish, and with it being the Monday, once again I would preference to sell. So the options would be a pullback towards 196.60 to 70, that sort of region. Look for rejection or a potential sell to take it back down. That is one option I will consider if it was to eventuate. Now further options would be, obviously depending on the Asian session range, if price pops above it only to close back below it, could take a cheeky little sell off the back of that theory. Otherwise, what we've done within the current daily candle is form some support, most recently 196.06, and if price was to pop back down to that point there, close below it, retest and begin to pull away from it, I would consider an option to take a sell below that level. Will likely break a level of support formed within the current daily candle, likely going to head back down to the next level. So first target will be 195.80, and then potentially at the 4 hour support yet again. That is GJ, guys. Hopefully that made sense. And let's finally, last but not least, let's have a look at German 40. Also a big sell-off on the indices by the looks of things. NAS as well. Wow, just realized the price in a minute. All right, so strong or bearish in the previous weekly. We do have some margin to the downside if we were to begin to break the low of that candle, so we will just mark it in, make our way down to the daily time frame. Now onto the daily, and again strong bearish in that previous daily. We will mark in a 50% of that candle and just see what it lines up with, if anything. And once again, that is the level if price was to pull back to. I like on the minor time frames for sellers to step back in, defend that level, and that potentially could be the highest point of the daily, maybe even the weekly. And at that point there, we could look for potential options to take a sell. The 4 hour looks like it could be running out of steam upon the pullback. It definitely is bearish in structure here. Just going to mark in the daily low, or just below the daily low, not above it. To the downside, going to mark in that whole level. And once again, we'll make our way down to the M15 time frame. All right, so the 50% lines up with a strong level here on the 15. So therefore, once again, simple plan for German 40. What I would like to see is price at the minute, the way it's creeping back up, is pop up higher. Look for a rejection of 23.60, 68 to roughly 23.70 for potential options to take sell back down. And otherwise, is there margin below support forward, most recent support forward within the current daily candle? Likely. So that could be another potential entry point to the downside. If price was to be in reject and pop below 23.538, would also provide some potential sell options below that point there. Yeah, otherwise below the low, far off that in a minute. So there's my opinion of 3 pairs, and I'm more than happy to have a look at what else you guys would like me to look at. Once again, my focus will be the gold. So let's have a good one, team. And let's just see what happens here moving forward here today. In the meantime, let me say g'day to you all. YouTube, welcome team. Don't forget to hit the like button, please. Tony Gold, Franco, Rizal, Nev, hope you're all, brother. Rastafari, only positive months this year, sir. Only no negative month. Had a few negative weeks, but not negative months. Carl, morning to you. Yep, all good, mate. Hope you're well. Mr. Tom John, hope you're well, brother. And yeah, welcome to everyone else who is quietly watching in the background. TikTok, g'day to the 70 plus of you on stream. Thank you to 7 new followers. Let me have a look through the chat, see if I've missed anything. IDK, what's going on? Good morning to you. Mohammed, welcome to you. Mary Ma Wailu, what time chart you on? M15. By mission Solana, easy 1000X. Never heard of it. But Marokkan. Apologies for screwing out. It's 5 minutes left. Oh, the lawnmower, yeah, the gunner. Bit of a pain in the ass though, the timing. Big Rig Gaming joined from, oh, I thought, sorry, joined from post. Oh yeah, anyway. Kyson, thoughts on shorts from 34.13.9? Far off it, just very far off it. To worry about that for me. Thoughts on it? I mean, if it's within your plan, fantastic. For me, we're very far off it to even worry about it. I'm just focused on the current area of price action. Let me just measure something here. Not much margin. An Asian Open? Are you talking about futures? You're probably looking at GC. That would make more sense. Yeah, you must be looking at this chart. You're probably trading futures, mate, so that's why I'm not sure it makes sense of what the numbers you're calling out. 13.9 on Asian Open at 3. But Asian Open's at 10 AM my time for me. It just depends where you're from. But 13.9, 13 point. Well, the Asian Open's here, so, well, I don't know, looks like you did pretty well from it, so nice work. Cuba list, any thoughts on USD CHF? Don't trade at the minute because there is high impact dollar Swiss news, or Swiss news, sorry, to come. But I will look at it for you in a moment if you really want me to. DS Novak, good day to you. Hope you're well. Hope you had a good weekend. Kazil, bullish in golfing. engulfing that bullish candle. I mean, it's not a bad entry, but you would have had to take it up on a liquidity grab candle. So broke low, low high, low low, would have had no need to pull up, break the high. The back of that, that's where you probably needed to take an impulse entry. Too late just now. But yeah, so I'm just chilling, gonna wait and see what happens shortly. Ethan buy or sell, preferring the bias off the back of the bias, which is very bullish at the minute, but we'll see. Chuckling Rico Chet, good morning. Good morning to you. Can I explain those blue areas? The blue areas are minor supports, so the 15, 30, even the hourly. The 4 hour is what I believe to be the strongest. Well, actually, this level just below it. Let's just mark that in because that's a 4 hour support. We'll change that to gray. Yeah, so it is another level just below the more recent support, which I would need to consider. So actually, I'm just going to remove that. And I'm going to keep that level in and just look for the 4 hour range for price to pop back down to the 4 hour range or potential buys. But we'll see. We're approaching a high just now of the day. We'll see how price reacts to it. Dex shorts, good morning to you. Nintendo, is it buy or on gold or minute? Nothing. Rastafari, how long you been training? Profitable sir, and some strategy like now, and same strategy like now. Training about 8 years. The strategy always develops. It's always progressing. There are some very new entries of the last year or two. But yeah, been training for more than 8 years. US dollar Swiss. Let me quickly look at it for the kind person who asked before in the chat. Again, so high impact news to come shortly for the Swiss, so for the franc, so just be wary of that. Weekly long rejection wick here, so that to me is a bearish signal, to be honest, because we have rejected support here to the left hand side. Structurally it is bearish, not that I really focus on the structure on the weekly time frame anyway. But that rejection would suggest that perhaps we've grabbed liquidity from this liquidity zone here to the left in order to maybe move back down and create a lower low. This is really at some crazy levels. Yeah, I was going to say I've never seen this at that level. I wasn't trading back in 2011-12. So, yep, crazy the way things are at the minute. But looking at the daily, if we begin to break that previous daily candle's low, again we do have some margin to the downside here. Let's quickly look at the 4 hour. Members, let me send you guys a link in a minute. Let me just update this chart and I will send you guys a link shortly. The 4 hour structure to me is technically bearish. We have flipped the structure, confirmation of it flipping with the closure below this swing point here. This is the highest point the market got to. We do have a swing point just there and here. So we're seeing with close below here, we're definitely bearish. However, the higher time frame, yeah, so it is bearish. Sorry, I was going to say higher time frame is bullish, but it's definitely not bullish. Very bearish. So that's the current area consolidation. So would there be a catalyst to buy it above that point there? We'll have to wait and see what we've got in the 30. But it looks like there could be some really nice sell options below the support on continuation. Don't have it on the 30 as well. Structure at this point doesn't flip until back above these highs. So once again, especially on a Monday, for me, I would avoid the buys. And often when price is overwhelmingly bearish in, obviously, with the 4 different time frames, what often happens is price will trickle, looks like it's going to break out. It's a slight higher high and then just waterfalls back down in line with the structure itself. So that's why I'm hesitant to trade against such a strong bias, which is obviously bearish. So for me, I'd be looking for pullbacks to really anywhere within this gray zone and look for a confirmation. So perhaps if it broke the Asian session highs, start to pop below it, we look for sells. Otherwise I'll be looking for continuation sells. But once again, do have some high impact news to come for the Swiss franc. Does look, yeah, pretty good below support as well. That's my opinion of it. Not looked at it for quite some time now. Anyway, members, let me get you guys sorted. Got some charts. All right, Nev. So in a sell here. All right, what's this gold? Looks like you're in from pretty early. Oh, well, nice one, mate. Omen, 2005 time frame, M15. Yeah, so this candle's tested the target, this liquidity candle. Broke low, went back up to break the high, it's tapped into resistance. So in a minute we're just consolidating really, guys. There's not much happening right now on the gold. Never got stopped. Oh, okay. So break even, I'm assuming. Keeper, all good, not a problem. Little profit, nice one. Sebastian is the other YouTube member. G'day to you. Hope you're well, mate. Welcome to the stream. As always, any questions, feel free to shoot those across and I'll happily answer for you. See, Bitcoin made a bit of a pullback, but it seems to be bouncing just below 115. But are we going to retest that zone and begin to reject and pull away from it? Remains to be seen. Thank you to the new sub. So nice strong closure on a previous daily. As I mentioned last week though on Bitcoin, in my opinion, we're still quite bullish as long as we really remain above 105 flat in the higher time frame picture. So perhaps this just could be a bit of a pullback to grab liquidity from the downside. We've just tapped into some previous resistance, so potential point that price could maybe bounce off. That bullish engulfing candle is a strong signal that we could make a bigger move to the upside again. So to me, I'd still be very bullish on Bitcoin. Trading wise though, I can see options to sell it. Obviously it is now flipped bearish on a 4-hour time frame. If it did reject just here even and close bearish engulfing, that would be not a bad signal of the higher time frame to look for sells. Otherwise potentially wait for it to pop back up a little bit higher to the level up around that 115 level again. Onto the 15, a bit of a mess here in the 15. Not really any clean levels to sell it from, to be honest. So I'd preference a pullback and look for sells from higher up if it were me trading it on minor time frame. Otherwise, maybe wait for a 4-hour to close. If it closes bearish engulfing, stop loss above the swing point, and your target's the lows here. But again, still very bullish on it. Partial off go to you. Curious for long term, do you suggest keeping an account value flat and withdrawing all profit? For long term, keeping an account value flat and withdrawing all profit. Well then you got nothing to trade with, unless I'm misreading that, to be honest. Oh, as in Sorry, I mean, I thought you meant like withdraw the whole. I get what you mean. So trade with house money. So you take off your initial investment and just trade with the profit. Or withdrawing all the profit and back to whatever you start with. Look, it's good to take profits when you have it there, to realize it, to feel it, to appreciate it. That was one thing I never really did much of on the small accounts, and I think that's why in the end you just get sick of it and you try to hit a home run, because you never appreciate the profit. So you never actually have it in your account. That was one thing that was a big mistake when I first started. I definitely, you know, since I periodically, pretty much every fortnight, will withdraw some profit just so again you can appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's best to do so. I still believe it's good to compound though, so I do believe take out what you might need to pay a bill or to buy yourself something that you might wanted, or buy the miss or something, whatever it is. But if you can compound it, grow the account. But I mean, either way, as long as you appreciate it and you do take some of the profit off, you'll start to again value it more, I suppose. Zach Bear 1302 thoughts silver, bro. Silver, very bullish. Personally, extremely bullish on silver in regards to long-term play. Training wise, at some resistance here to the left. Silver again is the most suppressed asset out of all, pretty much all the, well, especially out of all the precious metals, most suppressed asset in the world by the big banks. Many reasons for it. At some point, it's going to be left off the leash, and this thing's going to rip. Again, a lot of the leading economists that I follow and ones that I respect do believe this thing will end up well above, well, into 3 figures. Some are calling the higher end of it too, up towards, you know, even up towards the K mark or even more. Looking at it though, trading wise, previous weekly was a strong bearish candle. Prior to it was in a pretty strong uptrend. First real strong negative week for a while on silver. Looking at daily, counter probabilities are to the upside. We are at support and looks like we're bouncing off it yet again. So you're kind of now trading between 36.50 and 38.20. Looking at the 4-hour, and we can see it's quite evident here, that range, but we are at some 4-hour resistance. The 4-hour structure is definitely bearish at the minute. Most recent support does look pretty good above it though, so let's see if there is any sort of catalyst above it for potential buyers. I'll tell you what, just now you definitely would have it, because you got the 15-minute structure being bullish, and that will really remain bullish as long as they'll actually create the high. I've created the high here, so as long as it remains above this support, it's going to remain bullish on minor time frame. So I would prefer buy options, but the good thing is for the sells, if it does begin to pop below that point there, close below, you've got a structure flip, to look for the sell option, take it back down in line with that previous weekly. So for me on silver, you're looking for buys above the resistance, buys from the support, or sells below it. So what we've done just now is we've broken the high of the Asian session. So if we were to pull back into the range below, only to begin to pop below the support here formed just below the highs of the Asian session range, then I feel there's a good chance the price could end up back at the 4-hour support at 36.80. Alright, gold rejecting just under 3 minutes. Give you guys the option. I'm not going to take it because again I have rules, and for me today gold is just a buy. I'm looking for a buy. Brian, good day to you. Good morning. Remember, yeah, I do remember you. Got your first fun. Yeah, I do remember that. Well done. Got 2% on our account, waiting for my first payout. Bought a 100k challenge up to 2% of phase 1. Nice one. Good work, mate. Well done. Happy to hear it. Just keep at it, keep patient, and raid the plan. Don't do anything stupid, and I'm sure you'll, you know, continue to kill it. So good work. On Younger, some explanation on GJ. I've been over GJ before. Preferring the sells at this rate, it will be below the support at 196.056. I German 40 for sells if we close below in 30 minutes in 30 time frame. Yeah, but it's rejecting just now. You've pushed quite far into range. Well, you've almost tapped into support. 740 is a tricky one. It's a beast, real beast. All right, so gold making a bit of a move now. A little bit indecisive at the minute. Even if you were to look for sells, I mean, now you don't really have the margin to do so. So I'm just patiently waiting for the buyers, guys, to trade my plan. Mark Smith's family, thank you for the sticker. Appreciate it. TikTok inbox. Okay. I'll show off exactly what I was asking. All good, mate. Yeah, I do believe it's good to actually take some profit off the table. But if you can afford to leave some of it in there to compound the account, then I think that's also a really good idea. Mark Smith's family, so do you trade in Asia range? I would trade in Asian range, but I don't yet have any confirmation to do so because gold is going in the opposite direction to what my bias is, which is bullish. DJ, on the other hand, is going in line with the direction I want to trade in. But it's above a support, so there's not really much of an option until we're below that support. But what we often do see is price will sweep the high or low of the Asian session range, either to retest it and continue bullish in this case, or retest it, pop below it, and that generally signals a deeper pull, a deeper sell-off, bigger sell-off, and vice versa from support. That's something that we keep an eye on at A.C.T. Forex. Analyze, confirm, trade Forex. Not to be mistaken with Australian Capital Territory. It's got nothing to do with that shithole. Apologies to anyone who's from there. Alright, so nice strong bearish engulfing candle. The interruption play. I was considering sells. That would not be the worst decision right now to look for a limit order of that bullish candle. But again, I'm fixated on a buy for London session here today. Moving forward into MY, my rules I can adjust in accordance to that the data of the back of best part of 2 sessions already printed for today. It's just the way I go about on a Monday. It's what works for me, guys. It gets me on the more probable side of things. I find what I used to find is a lot of time I would disrespect or disregard the previous weekly candle and the bias and just literally look for any sort of price action signal, whether it be to the upside or downside, and a lot of time is to get wrecked. So I come up with that rule about maybe 2-3 years ago, about 3 years ago now, that I prefer on the Monday just to trade in line with the bias itself or the strength of the previous weekly candle. And what I do on Friday is I tend to trade in the same direction as the weekly candle as well, because by that point you've had a lot of data print obviously for the week. So yeah, so unless I have a catalyst to do otherwise, sometimes I do and sometimes I will trade against it, but for the most part I try to trade in line with it. Demon King 007 invites someone new like me. It's a difficult game, to be honest, mate. You need a lot of discipline and patience. You got to follow the right people because it is a big grind. The reality is it's a grind. As far as get to know a little bit about, you know, trading, good to watch people like myself live streams. I would recommend, I'm about to type into the chat, have a look at this website. It's for free as well. You can create an account, it's all for free. That's a good place to start. It'll help you with terminology and things like that. Make sure to also download this app or to save it on your somewhere or whatever. Just check it out either way. And that is also, this is what I use to chart. That's also number free. This is the free plan. I don't use paid version of it. That is good enough to chart on. So the limit order, if you did take a sell limit, which I did not, you'd be triggered in right now. So they're good places to start. Probably best to start maybe on a demo account, because you're going to make mistakes in regards to your entries, and never invest more than you can afford to lose, because reality is, as a beginner, you're likely going to lose your first account. I would hazard a guess some 90% of traders would have all lost their first initial account. User that's going to get rug pulled? What, gold? I don't think so. Doug, MNQ thoughts. MNQ. That is that's not minis, isn't it? Same thing, isn't it? As far as I'm aware, it's the exact same thing. Is it? Let me check. MNQ. Yeah, it's the same thing. Alright, so my thoughts, bearish. Heard an interesting signal, I suppose, from a particular economist I follow, saying that about the stock market, total market cap of the stock market to GDP ratio, it's at crazy levels that usually signal a big pullback, a big sell-off, and a bearish a downtrend. Would be a big catalyst to suggest that we could eventually make some decent pullbacks on NASDAQ, German 40, basically all the major indices. And maybe the first signal was last week. So previous weekly closed back very strong, bearish engulfing at support though. So if we were to break below the previous candle though, we are moving below the support, and that could again trigger off a bigger pullback. The thing is, I mean, if it starts to break these key levels of support, then obviously the emotions start to creep in and people start to probably sell out positions. The weak hands will sell out, and then you've got people who are waiting to get back into the market, or the big fish who are just going to lap up those orders on the pullbacks and that. So looking at daily here, very strong bearish candle, but once again, it is at some very solid support. So it may find trouble, it may bounce off it, may be a little bit difficult for it to just pop straight through it. I wouldn't expect it just to melt straight through it. I mean, it can't, but as we can see here on the 4 hour, making a little bit of a pullback just now, but the structure is definitely bearish. There's that strong level of support. I'd incorporate lowest point at this rate on 4 hour here and just see if it is in fact a bullish candle on the minor time frame. Otherwise I would adjust it. As far as a pullback level, you just look here to the left, and we have potential margin, I feel, for it to come up a little bit higher. But anyway, we'll go down to the 15-minute time frame here. Let me just shift this across. Is it lowest point of any bullish candle? Yep. All right, so I'm going to keep that zone as is, and to the upside, this is my focus. So technically bearish at this rate until price technically closes above this swing point. So I would just look for pullback sells personally. There is, in my opinion, no clean areas to sell it from the current level. It's just running straight back into consolidation. So I would preference a pullback to the resistance up here at 23.02 roughly, and look for rejection to take it back down towards the daily low and the previous weekly candle's low. Aside from that, again, look, maybe MY session, if price has actually pulled back, form support, and begins to pop up this resistance, then perhaps you could look for a potential buy option. Not like we haven't tapped into support. I mean, the daily open is literally tapped into it, into the 4 hour support. As long as it is approaching with volume, that would be my prerequisite. It has to approach with volume around MY, close to MY open or MYSE, whatever it is, and then I would consider the buy options above that point there. Otherwise, I'd just be looking for sells upon the pullback. That's personally how I would be trading NQ. All right, gold. Once again, not interested in selling it today. Actually waiting for an opportunity for a potential buy if it presents. What's happening with CHF? High impact news is happening in under. Yeah, high impact news. CPI. So obviously it's a big one. That's why it's gapped. By the looks of it, at the closure of that candle to the downside, the new candle's gapped up. Yeah, tricky to, you just need to let it chill for a bit. DS Vec? No, I don't think so. Not in UK. There's apparently one here in Oz, but it's not in Melbourne if that's the case. Not in Canada. Must be in Sydney, but not in, definitely not in Melbourne. It's not a bank holiday here. Doug, nice man. Thanks for the unbiased outlook. Pleasure as always. Uzo Skatering Chef. Full flag on the 4-hour chart. On what gold? Don't trade flags, and it's that sort of thing. But the only thing I really look at is M and W formations. I find they play out quite often. That's just double tops, double bottoms, that type of thing. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, perhaps, but I respect it, but I just don't see it as any catalyst, or I don't use it as any confluence to take a trade. There's the mate, all good. Everything, more to you, brother. Hope you had a good weekend. Welcome, welcome. One of my TikTok subs, appreciate it. Franco G and EU looking good for sales. Aaron, I hope you're well, brother. Welcome to the stream. To catch you about a little bit more often. GU, yeah, very bullish though. I suppose the weekly is bearish. Let me quickly look at it. Daily breaks the high. You got bullish candle probabilities, bullish engulfing candle on that previous candle. 4 hour, I would call that, oh, just bullish. Yeah, I see it. I definitely see it. But look at the strength of the current candle. Perhaps the Swiss news having any impact on the pound. Euro sells, I mean, you probably would have had to beat him by now. You can see some sweet EU sales on a limit order, which would have had a decent amount. Probably would have been out break even. Actually, probably would have got a 1-to-1, so probably would have secured something. But man, appreciate it, brother. User 324, do you do any futures trading? No. Demon Kings 007, just don't know, just looking for financial freedom. Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't trade, you know, then how do I word this? As a need or to break free? Yes, it's, I mean, that's why we've got to say, how, again, I'm not sure how to say this, because that's what I'm doing, obviously. That's why I'm doing it, so I can be where I want to be, do what I want to do. But at the same time, you can't be emotional about it, because if you're chasing it, it's not going to happen, trust me. You really need to be patient with it. Too many people, again, follow the wrong people on social media and that, and they see the glitz and the glamour. They pay for photo shoots, guys. I swear, not, some of them would be profitable traders, some of them probably hardly ever traded a day in their life. But yeah, just be cautious of who you follow. Pay more respect to the guys who stream live, because we put ourselves out there on the daily. Don't ask for anything. Yeah, but just be patient, mate. Be really patient. Start with a plan, start with a trading plan. It's important to have a little paragraph at the very beginning as to why you're trading. Believe it or not, because on those days when you think, forget it, it's not for me, I'm giving up. You have a look back at your plan, you read that first few sentences and you're like, nah, I can't give up. This is why I'm doing it. And you're back at it. OP Hun Spy. Buy or sell, nothing at the minute. Arafin, also another thing I've heard in a day, there's 50 plus setups on there. No need to stress. Yeah, I mean, it just depends how you trade, but there's always setups. And if I was to sit here from 9 to 5 or whatever, you know, in the same sort of hours as a full-time job, I'm sure I'll find trades every day. But I choose not to do it that way. A few reasons. I don't want the charts to dictate my life. I want the freedom to trade when I want and the times that suit me. Plus, if you are to sit there for 8+ hours of a day, it's only a certain amount of time that a human mind can focus on a screen or something in general optimally throughout the day. And if you sit there, you're gonna try to justify an entry even if it's not valid, and you're gonna make a mistake. You're gonna kick yourself, you're gonna lose focus, you're gonna lose patience, you're gonna feel a need to trade. So that's why I don't choose to trade more than, you know, 2, 3, 4 hours max of a day. Human, g'day to you. It's me, Jay. What Forex trading do you use? As in, what instruments do I trade? It's technically not, well, say it's not, but it is. It's still related to the US dollar. It's paired with the US dollar, so gold and US dollar. Otherwise, GJ, I'm kind of not sure if I really want to continue trading it. I have sort of stopped trading it. Did take a trade last week in the members and got stuck in a trade for like over an hour for just break even. It reminded me why I stopped trading it. So that's pretty much it. Mainly gold. JC, all good. Hope you're well. So again, cheers for the followers, new followers, guys. How that M15 close here, and yep, still above. All right, gold looks like we're heading up towards the Asian